is my kind of midway book update for A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. So I literally wrote down some, quotes that I thought directly resonated with the songs. So the songs for this were If I Could Fly and Half a Heart by One Direction. And I have like one quote. I didn't want to, there's some that I feel like would kind of just spoil the book, so I tried to find the quote that I think wouldn't spoil too much of the book, but still give you guys the quote. But there are a couple times in the book where the characters mention that they're like a full heart together when they're together, and they're like only half a heart when, you know, they're apart. And so in the book it says, I thought of her facing all of that pain with only half a heart, and then half of her soul struggling to cope without its counterpart. There's a lyric in the song If I Could Fly that goes, or I'm missing half of me when we're apart. And then in the song Half a Heart, it goes, I'm half a heart without you. That kind of just merges together really well. And that's just kind of my update. I really do like this book so far. It's like keeping me interested. It hasn't really dropped it yet. There have been a couple times where I get like a tiny bit distracted, but I feel like I'm just like that with like everything. But I do like it, and I want to keep reading it to the end because I really want to know what happens. But yeah, overall, right now, so far so good. Time for my final update on this book, because I just finished it like a couple hours ago, and I don't know how I'm not in tears, but I just think it's because I'm such a visual learner. So if I were to see like a video of these characters going through what they did in the book but in a video form, I would be a wreck then, because this book is very sad. And I'm just shocked that I just didn't cry. There have been a few times where I'd come close to crying, but I was like at school, so I was like, I'd rather not, you know? But anyways, I want to come on here and give you a little rating for this book. I thought this book was so good. I really enjoyed it. I feel like in the beginning it moved a little slow for me, but then it like picked up really quickly, and I started to really like get interested in it and like wanting to read more. But the characters are so sweet, and the female main character, her name is Poppy, I just feel like she has such a good outlook on life and just the way she lives her life. Like, I think everyone should be like her in that way. The male main character, Rune, he's really sweet. I really like him too. But yeah, I think I would overall give this book like a 4.7 rating out of 5, which is really good. I love this book. I enjoyed it. There's nothing really that I could like think to change. And one last thing, I also love how this book, at the end of it, the author made a playlist page, so it kind of just shows all the songs that helped her inspired her to write the story. And there are so many One Direction songs that she has listed, including If I Could Fly, and a bunch of other One Direction songs that fit so perfectly to the story of this book. And the one thing I'm so surprised is that Half a Heart is not on this list, which is crazy, because Half a Heart is literally that like song goes with like the entire book. And I don't know how it's not mentioned in her soundtrack, but she has listed a bunch of other One Direction songs, a bunch of other songs from like other artists and bands, and I just think it's so cool because I could so see like every song relate to like the story. I highly recommend if you're like a romance person, you know, if you're like into that kind of stuff. So I decided to pick up Colleen Hoover's All Your Perfects, which relates to the song Spaces and Infinity by One Direction. So yeah, let's read more Colleen Hoover, guys. Okay, so I decided I'm going to do my midway update for the book that I'm currently reading, which is All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. So I'm on page 153 right now out of like 300 pages. So I decided to come on here and do the midway update that I normally do. So I really like this book so far. Something that I love about Colleen Hoover's books is that she just always has my attention from the very beginning. I don't know, she's just really good at like describing the story and like where you are, what they're doing. Like I feel like she's just really good at describing the whole story and like creating a really nice picture so I can like easily like visualize it in my mind. I've read 2 other Colleen Hoover books, not part of this series that I'm doing on my channel. I read November 9th in the first video of this series, and after reading that book, in the middle of me filming this video, I started reading It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. It had nothing to do with this video, so I didn't vlog it. But It Ends With Us was such a good book, and I just wanted to read it because I know there's a movie coming on it soon. But out of like those 2 and then this one, I don't want to say that this is like my least favorite, because it's definitely a really good book, but I think it's lower on my list, but it's still a really good book. And this was for Spaces and Infinity by One Direction, and I can already see like that song being connected to this book, especially Spaces, because Spaces is like a song just about like, you know, like the distance between like 2 people and like how it's like getting harder to reach the other person, like just the overall space between them, which I can definitely see in this book with the 2 characters, Graham and Quinn. And it just really like, you know, I can like hear that song as I'm reading it. So yeah, this book is really good. I'm gonna come back and do my end update once I'm done all 300 pages. So I just finished the book, All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. If it seems like I'm rushing this, it's because I am going somewhere and I'm leaving like now. So this is my final update for the book, and kind of just tell you guys how the book ties, like my rating, and also how the book ties in with the songs that were like assigned to it. So I'm gonna start off by giving this book, I feel like I'm so bad with ratings, but I want to do like a 4.2 out of 5. It's a really good book. Like I like all of Colleen Hoover's books that I've read so far, but I feel like this was a little lower on my list, but that doesn't mean that I didn't like it. But I would give it like, I think a 4. What did I say before? I said 4.2. 4.2 out of 5, which I think is still a good rating. It's still in like the 4 range. So I kind of want to share with you guys a couple quotes that I think really resonate with the song Spaces and Infinity. So first, for Spaces, there's a quote in the book that says, I have like the exact thing, but I need my laptop for it, so I'm gonna come back in a second. I wrote it down on my laptop so I don't forget it. And I'm at work, I miss you, and when I'm home, I miss you. And that directly relates with Spaces, because in Spaces, the lyrics are, spaces between us keep getting deeper, it's harder to reach you even though I try. So that directly is like identical to the song. And then there's also, I miss you, Quinn, so much. You're right here, but you aren't. I don't know where you went or when you left, but I have no idea how to bring you back. Again, those are literally identical to the song. And then another one that also relates to that song is, we live together, but I have never felt more alone in my life. Is that not like an oxymoron? That's literally crazy. And then from Infinity, there's a specific lyric that goes, now I'm 1 step closer to being 2 steps far from you. And that again translates to the book so well. And yeah, that's kind of just my final update. I really have to go, so I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will